Monday, April the 26th. Man, we are barreling our way through the fourth quarter and making our way to the end of the school year, but we've got a lot to do between now and then. So thanks for giving me a few moments this morning just to share with you. I got a leadership lesson for you and some updates. Let's go ahead and just dig right in. If I can get my slides to advance here. There we go. So I want to share with you a couple of things that are coming up. Now we have 18 days of school before testing begins. So these are really important 18 days, and our lesson's really going to be about that today. Also, we got some really cool upcoming events on May the 11th. We got a 5th, 6th, and 7th grade event. We're going to invite you to drive through. That's our EOG prep night. We're going to feed you that night and have an opportunity to give you and your parents some information about upcoming EOGs. So put that on your calendar. The 8th grade event is on May the 13th, and that's still an EOG event, but it's also a little bit of a celebration for our 8th grade scholars. It is a drive-through event. We got some dinner for you and some other things. So 8th graders, be sure you're saving that date. That's a Thursday evening. And then on the 27th, this is your night, 8th grade. We've got a promotion ceremony scheduled. We're going to give you some details on that later in the week. Just a really cool night for 8th graders and their families. So please be sure you're saving that date. Also, we got yearbooks that are going on sale this week. I'm going to put a link in this week's parent email. I would strongly encourage you to get a yearbook this year. They're only $20, but it's got pictures and images of all the things that have happened, both remotely when school was closed and as we've reopened. It'll be a really good year to remember. So again, we got EOG testing coming up, and those are going to be really important tests, and I want to encourage you to get focused over these next 18 days. And as we get results back from those EOG tests, we have some summer learning opportunities that are going to be for scholars, both some here on campus and then some that are going to be virtual. So we'll see which opportunities you should participate in. Last week, we were talking about this whole superhero idea, and I brought to you a lesson about how leaders and superheroes make it happen for others. And these are some of my favorite images about all the great things that our staff members have done over the years just to make it happen for you. And then recently I was reading this book, and this book is entitled Teach Like Your Hair's on Fire. And it's written by one of my favorite teachers. His name is Rafe Esquith, and Rafe is a teacher out in Los Angeles, California. He's retired now, but he taught for like 32 years out there. And he's an amazing teacher. And basically what he says is that you bring passion in the classroom every day. You make sure your students are safe. You help build really strong relationships. And then you teach your absolute heart out every single day, committed to making sure that every kid learns. And I like this young man. He's an awesome teacher. He had a great set of awards and recognitions that came to him, including like National Teacher of the Year, the American Teacher Award. I just want to read for you just one little opening statement that he says. He's writing this book. He says, "I feel a little strange writing this book. I'm painfully aware that I'm not superhuman. I do the same job as thousands of other dedicated teachers across the country who try to make a difference. And like all real teachers, I fail constantly. I don't get enough sleep. I lie awake in the early morning hours, agonizing over a kid that I was unable to reach. Being a teacher can be painful." I agree, but that's why we get up every single day and we come to this building and we teach like our hair's on fire. So that's what our staff's going to be doing for the next 18 days, and I hope you will join us and learn like your hair's on fire. So last week I said a superhero is somebody who shows up when the odds or when the obstacles seem insurmountable, right? We don't need superheroes for everyday stuff. We need it for big-time obstacles. And so that's when a superhero shows up. They find a way to save the day. They find a way to wipe out the antagonist. They find a way to make sure everybody's safe and secure. They make it happen. And I'm going to tell you one other thing they do. They know the rules, and they use the rules to their advantage. So that's our leadership lesson for this week. Know the rules. If you're going to be successful, you got to know the rules. It doesn't matter if you're playing chess or checkers or hi-ho cheerio. There's a set of rules that you got to know if you're going to be successful. So in any competition, in any event, in any challenge worth pursuing, there's a set of rules or a set of guidelines that are designed, first of all, to keep the event fair, right? We want the event to be fair, but also to provide structure. Like school has a set of rules, your home has a set of rules, your basketball tournament had a set of rules. Whenever you go to a swimming meet, there's a set of rules there. So there's always a set of rules, and if you're going to be successful, know the rules. Like, for example, you're playing Uno, right? You got like 19 cards, and you finally get down to that last card. What do you have to do? You got to say Uno. If you don't say Uno, you got to pick up all these other cards. So there's always a set of rules. It's like in football. The center has to hike the ball. in order to begin a play from scrimmage. Now, he can go between his legs. He can turn around and hand it to the quarterback. He can toss it over his shoulder. It doesn't matter. But there's a rule. The center has to hike the ball in order for the play to begin. So successful leaders not only know the rules, but they use them to their advantage. All right, now Shaquille O'Neal is one of my favorite basketball players. He's got a great personality. He's hilarious. He's a down-to-earth guy. But this dude is enormous, right? Like, Shaq is 7'1". He weighs like 340 pounds. He wears like a size 21 shoe. This dude is immense. And in the NBA, he was just mowing over people. I mean, dunking on people, taking them to the hole, pounding it to the backboard, blocking people. He was an unstoppable force. So he had one problem, though, and it was kind of like his weakness, like every superhero. It was free throws. Now, Shaq's hands are at least twice the size of mine, so big that when he holds a basketball, it just gets lost in his hand. Therefore, free throws is not something that he is really strong at. So there was this coach, his name is Pop. He coaches for San Antonio Spurs, and in the playoffs, he knows the rules of the game. And so he started fouling Shaquille O'Neal every time. At this point, he was playing for the Heat. Every time the Heat center got the ball, or even before he got the ball, he'd send somebody over to foul him. Why? Well, that put Shaq on the free throw line, and Shaq was shooting like 40%. So he was willing to give up a chance that Shaq might make 1 out of 2 free throws to prevent Shaq from getting the ball on the block and turn around and hammering all over his players. So it actually worked, and Shaq got fouled so many times and he missed so many free throws, Pat Riley, who was the coach of the Heat, had to take Shaquille out of the game. So Popovich knew the rules, and so therefore there's a little rule in NBA now called hack-a-Shaq. Here's something else to think about. This young man, Robinson Cano, plays for the New York Yankees. His dad also played for the Yankees, an absolute stud. Now, Robinson Cano is a home run force. He bats lefty, so when he pulls the ball, it often goes to shortstop or to second base because he's pulling the ball, and he's a home run hitter. So teams will put on what they call a shift. They'll move their 8 defensive players. They can't move the catcher. They'll move the 8 defensive players in that direction to try to get every ball he hits, right? They know the rules of the game. But Kano's even smarter because he knows the rules to the game. So he comes up to bat here against the Boston Red Sox, which I'm actually a Red Sox fan, and they've put the shift on Cano. All right, so they're like, man, go ahead and hit it. We got you. We've moved all our guys into this position. But he knows the rules of the game. Check out how smart Cano is.
Times it's...
Home run? Nope. Bunt.
There's a bunt.
Where's your defense?
Right down the third base line. Let's see if Cano could turn it into 2. He's steaming towards second, and he just bunted himself.
Come
into
on,
a
man.
double.
Robinson Cano there knows the game, and he knows the rules, and therefore he lays down a double off a bunt. That's what I'm talking about, man. Know the rules and use it to your advantage. You guys may not know Allison Fisher, but she's one of the greatest pool players of all time, not just female champions. This lady can play with anybody. She's an amazing pool master. She began playing when she was 7 years old. She has won over 80 national titles and 11 world titles. I mean, she knows the game of pool. She knows how to strike the ball. She knows where to put the ball after she knocks one in the pocket. Most people, when you play pool, you're looking at the ball you want to hit in, and you're just doing your absolute best to put that ball in the pocket. But Allison knows the game so well, and she knows the rules so well, that she began doing something called defensive shots. Like when you're playing 8-ball, when you're playing 9-ball, you have to hit the balls in order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so all the way up to 9. Well, if she didn't have a clean shot on the ball she wanted, she would put the other pool player in such horrible position. All right, now this is the 1 ball. This is the ball she has to hit, okay, up there at the top. But she knows she can't knock it in, so what is she going to do? She's going to make it so the other player coming up next doesn't have a prayer of being able to hit the 1. Watch this. Makes contact with the 1, which is required, and look where she leaves the cue ball. Stuck behind the 7. How in the world is that lady going to knock that ball down and hit the 1 now? Right now, she didn't have a shot on the 8, so she's going to put it behind the 9. So the next player doesn't have a prayer being able to knock in the 8 ball. I mean, she is a master. She knows the rules, and she uses them to her advantage. Here's another one. There's the 1 ball down there again. She can't knock that ball in.
Well done. She got it all the way down.
She can bring the cue ball all the way back to this side of the table with two balls blocking the shot to the ground. Now, you may not know a whole lot about pool, but this lady is a mastermind. Not only is she skilled, but she knows the rules. And that is what is so critically important if you're going to be successful at anything in life, okay? So let's move to the reason I'm sharing this idea with you. We've got some really important tests coming up. And this year, for the first time ever, all end of grade and end of course, which is our Math 1 test, they're all online. Our science has been online for a couple of years now, but everything's online this year, and we've been practicing. But you got to know the rules to online tests, and I'm going to give you some of those rules, okay? Really, really important that you read directions carefully and the answer choices carefully. So you can't just skip the directions, like you get to a page and go immediately into the problems. You can't get to a page and just start reading the text. You gotta read the directions. It's a very important rule. I really encourage you to read the answer choices first, even in math. Read the answer choices. What are they offered me here? Also in literature, what are my answer choices? Then go back, and as you read and as you work the problem, you'll be knowing what you're looking for. Certainly, read through carefully. Don't rush through. That's a really important rule to end of grade tests. Secondly, there's some key terms, there's some key symbols, there's some key concepts that you just need to anchor in your long-term memory. For example, look across that math line up there, and you should know less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to, parentheses, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You should know those symbols. You've got to go ahead and commit those things to memory. In math, those are your symbols. In ELA, things like context clues, right? Going back into the text and finding textual evidence, thinking about the author's purpose. These are key terms, and you need to be thinking about them as you are participating in online testing. And certainly in science, man, it's all about vocabulary. You want to know the reason that Mr. V's got you learning all that science vocabulary and the reason Mr. Hammond is hammering that vocabulary in? Because it's so critically important. What is a conclusion hypothesis? What is data? What is specific vocabulary that I need? That's a great rule. That'll help you be success. I want to win in anything I compete in. I know you want to win and do well. So these are some of the rules. Also, if you see words that are in bold, right, really dark letters set apart from everything else, that's important. They put those things in bold because it gives you an idea that something really important is being asked for here. It might be in the directions. It could also be in a question which says which of these is not, and not's like not. You got to look at that stuff. Don't just overlook it. Also, words in italics. These are words that are kind of like They do that because it also draws attention about something in the passage or something in the problem. It's important. It's relevant. So don't just look at that and say, wonder why they typed those words slanted. No, it's italics. Pay attention to it, okay? 2 other rules for today. Your teachers are going to give you either scratch paper or graph paper depending on what test you are taking. Now, I don't know if you want to do a brain dump at the beginning of a test, just like here's the formulas I remember before I even begin. Area equals length times width. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. You might just want to dump all that stuff out. But certainly throughout a test, you want to use the resources that are provided, all right? It might be a calculator, it might be a scratch paper, whatever. Use that stuff. And when graph paper is provided, certainly you'll want to use that in your math assessment, okay? And last but not least, each one of these assessments is timed, okay? It's going to take you somewhere between 2 and 3 hours to take the math and the reading and the science test. Use the time. It's given to you, but also pace yourself, right? Like if you get 5 passages on an EOG reading test, you can't spend an hour and a half on the first passage. You got to pace yourself. If you hit a point where you're stuck, we'll give you some strategies for moving past that. But pace yourself. Understand that it is timed, but there is plenty of time for you to complete that assignment. So certainly do not rush through it. I really want you to know the rules. Now, I talked about teaching like your hair's on fire. This week, man, I'm asking you to learn like your hair's on fire. Let's be wide open and engaged. I know every single one of you guys can be successful on these tests, despite the fact that we missed at least half the school year for a lot of our kids, and some of you missed 3/4 of the school year, and some of you are still remote. Despite all that, you guys can be successful, but we've got to take full advantage of these next 18 days. We've got to be tracking during instruction. We know what TRACK is. My eyes and my ears and my body language are directed towards the speaker. I'm sitting up, I'm listening, I'm asking questions, I'm nodding my head like I am dialed in. That's what I need from you guys out of the next 18 days, all right? Teachers are beginning to do some review activities too, so take full advantage, be sure you're engaged, and learn like your hair's on fire over the next 18 days, all right? Here we go! Take a look, man. It was tight. Nike and Dynamis only about 32 points away from each other, but Hegemon edged it out, 3,140. Sabio House, let me see you step up this week. I know you got some big-time scholars in that house, so do everything you can to earn, and by goodness sakes, don't lose. Don't be taking demerits for not having you work or not tracking or having your headphones on when you're not supposed to. Don't do that. Come on, be a scholar, be a leader. Today, I want to share the creed in its entirety. You know, I hope we can get back to that point where we're all in rally and I can have scholars to stand and share this because it's an awesome presentation of what we believe about leadership at Allen J. Prep. But as a scholar at AJ Prep, you need to choose to be a leader, right? The standard is excellence today and tomorrow. You need to be disciplined. You need to be focused and on time. Be organized, respectful, and responsible. You need to be on a mission to elevate yourself, your community, and everybody else around you in humanity. Stand firm, model integrity first, service above self, and excellence in all you do. That is the challenge. I want to pay honor to our country today. I'm going to ask you to stand. I want to say thank you to Wendy Otinos, who's a 7th grader. She sent me an email the other day and said, Dr. Wheat, the pledge is missing the word indivisible. And I had chosen an image that did not have the word indivisible in it. And therefore, we were skipping it when we said the pledge. You know what that word indivisible means? It means that as a country, we are united. We will not be divided by anything. So I encourage you to stand today. I'm going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and just hope you will join. If you choose to sit, that is your preference, but do not be disruptive. I'm certainly going to stand and acknowledge the great country that we live in today. I even got my USA Everyday shirt on today. I'll give you a moment to get with me, and then I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Man, I hope you have a fantastic week. Give me your absolute best. Teachers are going to be teaching like their hair's on fire. You're going to be learning like your hair's on fire. I'm going to have fire extinguishers going up and down the hallway this week. All right, guys. Have a great week. Thanks.